This message of triumph through love is reflected in the song's epic orchestration with booming hand claps that you didn't like so much, swelling strings, and bouncing synth bass.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Audiophiles. My name's John. His name is Andy. Should only come out tonight. The lean and hungry type. Nothing is new. I've seen her here before. Watching and waiting. Oh, she's sitting with you, but her eyes are on the door. More on that later. But first, Andy, what sort of musical delights have you got in store for me?
Well, I know an artist that you really enjoyed that I've given you over the past few months was Citizen Cope. So I'd like to, go back and wade into those waters again and give you another track by him. And the track that I'd like to give you is one entitled The Victory March.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's see if we can go 2 for 2 with Mr. Cope. And you can let me know what you think on the other side.
Well, I've been to the mountaintop, and when I reached there, I still looked up. Well, I fell a lot, but got back up, just to prove you wrong. In the space between peace and desire, I wrote a song for some peace of mind. Showed how David's long that Philistine, just to prove you wrong. They say love conquers all. Take me to a victory march.
Okay. Interesting start. That familiar slight rasp to his voice, which I like. I think the first bit where he was singing before the rest of it kicked in, his vocal melody was doing most of the heavy lifting. And then in came the rest of the sound to support him. I'm not a huge fan of that sort of clappy beat to a song. I don't know, it's not my cup of tea. That aside, the rest of it sounds really good. I know how talented this guy is, so we shall see how it develops.
I'll show you where the love is from, 'cause I can't prove you wrong. They say love conquers all. Take me where the lovers are. I'll show you to the victory march, 'cause I can't prove you wrong. I was there when the sirens called, helped tie your Odysseus to the hull, and the fire could have killed us all, just to prove you wrong. Kept my hand fastened to the plow, and my patience is not wearing out. And in time we will be coming
Yeah, listen to this. I don't want to be unfair, but the previous one was so captivating and interesting musically. This one's fairly basic musically. Um, it has that, not trudging, but it has almost that marching, you know, one foot in front of the other type feel to the music. There's various bits and pieces in it which are accenting the vocal melody, which is quite nice. The piano is really nice in this. But yeah, it's a much more simple song than the previous one. And it's more of a mood piece, conveying this emotion. I've got some of the lyrics. They say, "Love conquers all. Take me where the lovers are." So something like that. Take me to a victory march and something like that, and I'll prove you wrong. So yeah, it's where lovers failed him, I guess. Um, I'm not. I'm hearing the lyrics, but I'm not taking them in very much. So I think it's more the emotional impact of this song is what it's all about, and it's not particularly impacted on me. It may be one of these ones that takes a few listens, but yeah. Yeah, interesting. I feel it's all about the emotional impact of his sentiment, and it's not getting through to me. I think this is one to ponder on. I feel like there's enough in there for me to really like this, but at the moment, I'm by no means not liking it. It's a decent enough song, but it's not really wowing me like the previous one did. I might just have a sneaky little second listen before I go back to Andy.
Hey, well, welcome back. How was the victory march?
Interesting. And I shall get into it.
All right.
So, this starts off with an acoustic guitar kicking us off for the march. And what I think is a synth giving a kind of bassy type sound. It's not a bass guitar, but it's this synth that's been. And then his slightly familiar to me, sort of slightly raspy voice quickly joins in, and it's welcome return because I do like his voice, which I said before. So he starts off, and it's a very simple musical landscape with just this. And after 30 seconds, there's bits of piano, a bit of electric guitar, and some percussive sort of reverberating splashes, adding to the atmosphere. But all the melody is coming from his vocal line. That's really the sort of tune of the song. And these bits are just embellishments on it. And at the minute mark, we get that sort of rising chord that you often get and stuff comes and then back into the song proper, which I believe that bit was it was. Yes, it was a chorus. Yeah. So, and I did catch that because he sang it a few times. You've got to give me a break. So he did say, and this is the bit of the lyrics that I got the most. They say love conquers all. Take me to the victory march. I'll show you where the lovers are, I think, because I can prove you wrong. And then he repeats it, and I noticed that he actually switched around lines 2 and 3. So the tailor comes, "Oh, take me where the lovers are. I'll show you the victory, show you to the victory march, because I can prove you wrong." So I don't know why I did that, but that was interesting to my ear. Pick that. Um, it's quite an interesting lyric there because he's putting out a gambit, that this idea of love conquers all. But he's saying, well, actually, if you go to where there is, that isn't the case. And I don't know if he's doing the old, ABBA motif, winner takes it all. When someone, wins in love, somebody else loses in love, perhaps. I don't know. Or if it's a sort of generalized thing. But there's two sides of the coin. It's not necessarily true that someone's happy means somebody else is unhappy, but that's kind of the scenario I'm getting from this, whether he's lost out or somebody else has lost out or whatever. Or if you've loved, when that love goes, then you're, miserable. I don't know. But it was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Back into the second verse. Oh, sorry. During this chorus, the synthy bass part's a little bit more pronounced. My notes are terrible, and I've typed them up as well. I'm still having difficulty reading them. The synthy bass note's more pronounced, and it's sort of gurgling along. It's got quite a nice sort of babbling brook to it. And there's some really nice higher synth chords, and they're doing what you would expect, like here's where the strings come in, sort of thing. They're doing that job, which is really nice, and it's a bit of this emotional watercolor over the top of the sort of the main bit of it. But it's all underpinned by this really heavy-handed sort of clap sounding beat, which I'm not a fan of.
Mm-hmm.
Just put it out there. I mean, it's there, but I wasn't enjoying that bit. But it didn't, ruin it for me. But could have done without it. Just saying. Anyway, now second verse. It drops back down again, as you would expect from the chorus, because that's what they do. Nowadays. I guess it probably always did. But it drops back down, and there's still got that nice higher synth as retained from the chorus, which wasn't in the first verse. And there is bits of dynamics where the sort of bits come and go. There's a nice extended chord, there's a touch of silence, and then the echoing disco claps will come back in full force. And then it does it again, a similar thing, but this time with the piano, so it's dropping out. And then there's a nice little mini drum fill, and we go into the second chorus. There's also, I felt, I'm not 100% sure, but sort of around there was that filter thing, which I've mentioned before, which I call the unfocused focus filter, where stuff kind of goes out of focus and then comes back in again, which I've always enjoyed that effect. I don't know what you call it, but you know what I mean. And it sort of, and it comes back in. I like that. So all the stops are now being pulled out by the second chorus to heighten the emotional impact. So there's nice dynamics, peaks and troughs. I will say at this point, it's not completely hitting with me. Like, it's not having an impact on me of that. I'm enjoying the song and appreciating it, but it's not wow. I think unfairly, I'm putting it in comparison to Healing Hands, and I think musically this seems a lot simpler to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's probably not as engaging me as much. And it's really unfair because they're different stuff. And obviously, if I heard this and not hearing that, I would have a different reaction. But you're coloured by your experience, so there's no getting. There's no, it's a decent enough song. It's just not blowing my mind like that last one did. So, end of the second chorus, we get these stirring piano chords and the second synth, and you get cymbal splashes as well. And then the musical landscape sort of fades bit by bit to the opening sort of compliment that we had, and then it comes out. So overall, I'd say it was a decent song. I enjoyed it. I listened to it again. I probably just had higher expectations that I was going to be wild over, and there's no reason why I should be wild over a song, but I just thought he was such a talent from what I heard last time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm expecting massive things, and maybe if I listen to this a few more times, it will connect with me a bit more. But it just didn't connect on that level.
Yeah.
But I think probably a lot of people hearing this would be blown away by it. But I'm a grouchy old Brit, and it takes a lot more than that to. And you're a soppy git, so I know that you'd love it straight away.
Yeah,
I'm
thanks.
kind of joking, and I'm kind of not, if you know what I mean. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
But then they got me thinking. There's a song which I'm proposing to give to you in a couple of weeks' time, which I think probably is deceptively musically very simple, and it absolutely blows me away. And then there was no reason why you should go, yeah, okay, it was all right. And because just sometimes you connect with things, and sometimes it's context as well. But there you go.
Yeah,
The
well,
higher, yeah,
there, for me, like I totally agree with what you're saying. Like from a musical standpoint, like this is a bit more stripped back than Healing Hands was, and Healing Hands had all these different like
yeah,
instruments making appearances and doing all these little flourishes and things. Um, but for me, like I could just listen to Cope sing with an acoustic guitar and enjoy what I was hearing because he's got this like he smokes filterless Marlboro Reds with crushed up fucking light bulbs in them. You know, he's got that kind of like, but he's also got
yeah,
soul in his voice too. So there's all this character to his voice that I really enjoy listening to. So he could read a fucking phone book and I would be like, that was a pretty decent
yeah.
go at it. I enjoy that. So yeah,
I would
that's right.
say I'd probably prefer that to
Yeah.
this, actually.
Yeah.
I really would,
Well,
and
he's got
that's the
songs that
sort
are
of,
definitely fit that
yeah,
mold. And then this sort
I
of
would,
in between area and then Healing Hands.
I just think the sort of like the modern production techniques don't work on me that they do. I don't know why, but I just think his voice and acoustic guitar would probably get me every time. And
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes some of the stuff they're doing in there distracts me, and I think, but anyway, that's just me. I will say this: the higher synth part, which was like sort of chiming, definitely reminds me of some 80s tune, but I cannot for the life of me think what it is. The memory evades me like a small child dressed in a red coat running through the streets of Venice. But I'll get it at some point. So overall, overall, I would say that this is a very good song. I did enjoy it. I wasn't wowed by it.
Right.
But it's not to say that I won't be in the future either. It's just my initial was like, yeah, this is really good. And I wish it was as good as the last one, which is really
Yeah.
unfair.
Yeah, no, that's
But,
and yet it is fair because it seems like a human nature, approach
yeah.
to assessing something after hearing
I
something from the same artist. So
have a couple of questions. One is, how does this lie in the chronology from Healing Hands and this one? Before, after, same time, whatever.
yeah.
And this, I would not be dumbfounded if you'd said to me this was a massive hit and, put them on the map or whatever. How successful it was.
Interestingly enough, I guess I can answer both those questions. Well, the latter I can get to, but no, this is literally off his last album that he put out in this past year, 2023.
All right.
It's the title track off his 11th album. So the album itself, as you can probably extrapolate from that, is called The Victory March, and it was released on June 28th of this past year. So, and it was the single that was released off of it first, before I think the album even came out, and it did get a lot of attention. It wasn't the hit that put him on the map or anything. I mean, like I said, this is his 11th album, but it was the hit from this album, at least to this point, anyway. And yeah. Well, I won't get too much into the artist because we've covered him on an earlier episode on this channel. And I even had shared some of his stuff with Greg, I believe, on Into the Music. So there's some information there as well if you want to go search it out. So I'll just kind of stick to this album, this song. But yeah, in an interview around the time of its release, Cope would say of the album, I wanted to celebrate the gift of life and of knowledge. You get on the road and you see how disconnected people are. There's a lot of discontent out there. In most cases, rightfully so. People feel they're not a part of something. We're just thrown into a pit against each other over commerce, more financial and economic differences than actual human differences, and we get confused. I felt like writing something positive with more of a hopeful slant. So, and he created this. Jack Anderson of KUTX wrote in his review of the album, The Victory March closely follows the formulas that made us fall in love with Citizen Cope in the first place, amplified by the heightened discipline and maturity that only come after 3 decades of mastering one's craft. I will jump into the lyrics.
Can I say before you do the lyrics?
Yeah.
He's absolutely fucking right. I was thinking about this the other day. I was watching something. I won't get into all that. But I was just thinking, all these small men, and they are, benefit by creating conflict and, pitting people against other people. And I was like, when is there going to be someone that comes along that fucking unites people? Because I'm really sick of it. And it's never been so polarized as it is now. It really hasn't.
No.
And it's just depressing. And he's right, and most of it is economic based.
And those economic things, like, are actually similarities and commonalities that the two groups who are pitted against each other share. And yet they're divided over. It's like the white, destitute son of a coal miner in Appalachia has actually economically and how they're being treated by their state a lot more in common with the inner city welfare mother, as they would be labeled as by certain people. So it's odd to me that they can't see that commonality in one another and that they're both under the same boot. And yet here they are struggling under the, it's the crabs in the barrel. It's all the stuff. It's all it's been talked about throughout history ad nauseum. And it's weird that this part of history can repeat itself, whether it's in pre-revolutionary France or, here or there now, and any other time throughout history. It's really fucking odd. But that's, I kind of think, what he was, feeling the pulse of as he was touring and wanted to write an album that was hopefully shed light on the issue a little bit and showed people that they actually have some commonality, or there's things out there in the world to love or gravitate toward. Yeah. Anyway, Jack Anderson.
Rant over.
Yeah. Going over to the lyrics now. Well, I've been to the mountaintop, and when I reached there, I still looked up. When I fell, I fell a lot and got back up just to prove you wrong. In the space between peace and desire, I wrote a song for some peace of mind. Showed how David slung that Philistine just to prove you wrong. They say love conquers all. Take me to the victory march. I'll show you where the lovers call, 'cause I can prove you wrong. They say love conquers all. Take me where the lovers are. I'll show you the victory march, 'cause I can't prove you wrong. I was there when the sirens called, helped tie Odysseus to the hall, and the fire could have killed us all just to prove you wrong. Get my hand fashioned to the plow, and my patience is not wearing out, and in time we will be coming round just to prove you wrong. They say love conquers all. Take me to the victory march. I'll show you where the lovers call, 'cause I can't prove you wrong. They say love conquers all. Take me to where the lovers are. I'll show you to the victory march, 'cause I can't prove you wrong. They say love conquers all. Take me where the lovers are. I'll show you to the victory march, 'cause I can't prove you wrong. And Sean Quinn of With Guitars would write of this album's title track something of a thesis statement for the album, really. The song concerns resilience through tribulations and powerful importance of love. Cope conveys this message with grand biblical metaphors, singing, in the space between peace and desire, I wrote a song for some peace of mind, showed you how David slung that Philistine just to prove you wrong. This message of triumph through love is reflected in the song's epic orchestration with booming hand claps that you didn't like so much, swelling strings, and bouncing synth bass. As the track crescendos at the chorus, Cope belts the album's mission statement. They say love conquers all. Take me to the victory march. So yeah, that is the lyrics.
Well, it was a bouncing synth bass. I feel vindicated about that, at least.
Yeah. Let's all give a round of sustained hand claps because we know how much you love them.
It's that sort of echoey big one. Do you know what I mean? That,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I've come to realize that hand claps have to be very judicious and sparsely used.
Oh, it's a minefield. It's a minefield.
Yeah.
I really like the one-handed clap. That's enough.
Yeah, I think they call that a wave. John, thank you so much for giving this a listen, and I'm glad you had a pretty.
No, I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I did enjoy it.
Second dalliance with Citizen Cope here. Guys out there in the listening audience, let us know what you think of Citizen Cope. If you're familiar with some of the other stuff, or at least the other track that's been on this channel, what you thought of this one. Maybe if it reminded you of anything, feel free to drop it down in the comments field so we can add it to our ever-growing list for Friday episodes. All that out of the way, maybe like, share, subscribe if you feel so inclined. We really do appreciate all you guys that have been here since day one, and the ever-growing audience that comes with each new subscription. So think about joining the water. Everything's good here. All that out of the way, John, thanks so much. Everybody out there, thank you so much. And hopefully he and I will both see you and maybe more on the next episode of the Audiophiles. See you later, guys.